Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin. Imagine standing on a quiet beach, the sand cool beneath your feet, the ocean stretching out endlessly before you. You watch as the water pulls back, then surges forward in a rhythmic dance. It's as if the ocean is alive, breathing in and out, flowing and retreating. The movement feels timeless, as though it has always been this way, and always will. But beneath this gentle rhythm lies a deep, unseen force that has shaped the ocean for millions of years. It is a force that pulls and tugs, rises and falls, and it is as old as the moon itself. The moon, though far above us in the night sky, is more connected to the earth than we often realize. Every night, when the sky darkens, the moon glows softly, casting its pale light across the waters. But the moon's light is not just for beauty. It carries with it an invisible power that stretches from the heavens all the way to the shores. It pulls at the oceans gently but firmly, like a mother pulling her child in close. This invisible pull is what we know as gravitational force. The moon's gravity stretches and tugs at the water, causing it to rise and fall in a slow, predictable pattern. These are the tides. They come and go like the steady beat of a drum, each rise and fall a reminder of the moon's constant watch over our world. The gravitational force is like a tender hand, softly reaching out to the waters, urging them to shift in response. As the moon moves across the sky, its influence is felt on the earth, drawing the oceans closer to it, pulling the waters upwards in a gentle embrace. This force is not one of violence, but of quiet and persistent touch, like the moon is whispering to the ocean, asking it to move with it through the sky. The tides in their eternal rhythm create a cycle that has been steady and unbroken for as long as we can remember. With each rising tide, the waters climb up the shore, gently kissing the land before receding once more. Then, as the moon's gravitational pull weakens and shifts, the tide retreats, as though the ocean is resting, waiting for the next pull. These movements are slow and steady, like a heartbeat that flows in time with the moon's orbit. But the moon is not the only one in this celestial dance. The Earth itself, spinning on its axis, feels this pull too. And just as the moon's gravity influences the oceans, the Earth's rotation causes the water to move in ways that we can't always see, but that shape the tides in their own way. As the Earth turns, different parts of the ocean feel the moon's pull, creating high tides and low tides that shift across the globe. It is a delicate interplay between two celestial bodies. The moon's gravity creates the high tides, and the Earth's spin creates the movement that follows. As the Earth turns, different places experience these high and low tides, and the cycle continues on and on without interruption for millennia. It is a symphony, where the Earth and the moon are the musicians and the ocean is the audience, responding to the rhythm with each gentle rise and fall. The science behind this dance is delicate and beautiful, like a piece of music that plays softly in the background, yet affects everything around it. As the moon orbits the Earth, its gravitational influence causes a bulge in the water closest to it. This is what we experience as the high tide. On the opposite side of the Earth, another bulge forms, caused by the Earth's own inertia, as it is pulled slightly away from the water on the far side. This is the second high tide. The Earth's rotation helps to determine how often the tides come and go. As the Earth turns on its axis, it carries each part of the ocean through the pull of the moon, experiencing high tide at one moment, then low tide a few hours later. The time between each high tide and low tide is not the same everywhere. On some shores, the tides are gentle, the rise and fall barely noticeable. On others, the change is more dramatic, with the water moving quickly and powerfully in response to the moon's pull. And then, as the Earth continues its spin, the waters slowly fall again, retreating as the moon moves across the sky. This ebb and flow, The constant rise and fall is a dance that has been going on for billions of years, and it is a dance that will continue long after we are gone, as long as the moon remains in the sky. There is something deeply soothing about the way the tides come and go, the gentle rise of the water, the slow retreat, the soft whisper of the waves as they touch the shore. It's almost as if the earth and the moon are speaking to each other in a language we can't quite understand, but we feel it all the same. The tides remind us that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, connected to the universe in ways that are subtle and mysterious. As the waves crash softly against the shore, there's a sense of timelessness, of being in a place where the rhythm of the earth and the moon converge. It's a reminder that even in the quietest moments, there is a constant unseen force at work, shaping our world in ways both gentle and powerful. The ocean knows this rhythm, and so do we. For just as the moon controls the tides, so too does it remind us of the quiet forces that shape our lives in ways we may never fully understand. Now imagine the stars above, and the quiet pulse of the universe that beats between them. The moon, like the tides, is part of that pulse, a soft and steady rhythm that carries us through time, whispering its secrets to the ocean and to us. It is a dance that will continue, steady and eternal, as long as we listen and watch. As the tides rise and fall, they are not merely a physical movement, but a deeper, quieter expression of time itself. The moon, in its gentle pull, not only moves the waters but weaves a connection between the past, present and future. It holds within its orbit a sense of ancient rhythms that echo across the ages. The oceans too seem to remember this connection, responding to the pull of the moon in a timeless pattern that speaks to the continuity of life itself. If you were to listen closely to the tides, you might begin to hear a story that goes beyond words. The way the waves crash against the shore and retreat again is a story of cycles, of ebbing and flowing, of growth and decay. Just as the tides are in constant motion, so too are the forces that shape our planet. The moon, in its quiet elegance, is a keeper of these forces. It reminds us that the universe, in its vastness, is always moving, always changing, yet always following a delicate, predictable path. The tides are not just an abstract phenomenon. They are the lifeblood of the ocean's ecosystems. In the shallow waters, where the tide comes in and goes out, creatures of all kinds find their rhythm. Sea stars and crabs, mussels and clams, all these creatures have adapted to the rise and fall of the waters, using it as a cue for when to feed, when to breed, and when to find shelter. The moon's pull is their guide, their silent partner in the dance of survival. The interplay between the moon and the tides also tells a story about balance. The moon's gravitational force is not an isolated force, but one that is part of a larger cosmic harmony. As it pulls the oceans, the Earth responds with its own forces, the pull of the land, the rotation of the planet, the forces of wind and weather. All of these elements work together to create the patterns we see in the tides, and they're all connected in ways we may not fully understand. The power of the moon over the tides is not a force that demands attention or control. It is quiet, like the soft touch of a hand guiding you through a dark room. It does not rush or demand. Instead, it is a gentle nudge, a reminder that there are rhythms at work in the world that are far beyond our immediate understanding. And as we watch the tides move in and out, we are reminded that there is a greater order at work, one that guides us even when we cannot see it. Perhaps the most profound aspect of the moon's influence on the tides is the way it mirrors the passage of time itself. The rise and fall of the tides are like the passing of the hours in a day, the turning of the seasons, the unfolding of the years. It is as if the ocean is marking the passage of time in the most ancient of ways, with each wave, each tide a quiet testament to the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. In a way, the tides are a mirror of our own lives. Just as the tides rise and fall in a steady rhythm, so too do we experience moments of joy and sorrow, of growth and retreat. The tides remind us that all things have their season, their time to rise and fall, and that nothing is permanent. The moon, with its steady pull, is a reminder that even in the moments when things seem to be retreating, they are simply gathering strength for the next rise. The cycles of the ocean are not to be feared. They are to be embraced, for they carry within them the wisdom of the ages. The water, in its infinite movement, also teaches us about the value of patience. The tides do not hurry to meet the shore. They come slowly, steadily, in their own time, and as they retreat, they do not rush away. They pull back gently, taking with them only what they need. There is a lesson in this for us, to move through life with grace, allowing things to unfold in their own time, without forcing or rushing. The ocean teaches us that patience is not about waiting for something to happen, but about allowing ourselves to flow with the rhythms of life. As we watch the tide ebbing away, there is a sense of quiet reflection, of space being created for something new. The ocean is never stagnant. It is always moving, always changing, and so it is with us. Just as the moon pulls the waters, so too do the moments in our lives pull us forward, guiding us through the changes that are inevitable in the journey of life. And like the ocean, we are constantly moving, constantly evolving, becoming something new with each passing moment. At night, when the moon shines brightly in the sky, it feels as though it is watching over us. The tides, ever responsive to its pull, offer a gentle reminder that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. The moon does not demand anything from us. It simply is, as constant and steady as the tides. It is in this quiet, peaceful presence that we find solace. The tides are a soft lullaby, a reminder that even in a world full of change, there are forces that remain steady and eternal. The connection between the earth and the moon is an ancient one, a connection that predates humanity and will outlast us. It is a dance that has been happening for billions of years, and it will continue long after we are gone. And as long as the moon is in the sky, the tides will rise and fall, marking the passage of time and reminding us of the cycles that govern our lives. Just as the moon governs the tides, so too does it govern the rhythm of the universe, a rhythm that we are all part of, whether we are aware of it or not. As the tides continue their dance along the shore, we find ourselves reflecting on the many quiet mysteries they carry with them. The rise and fall of the ocean is not just a physical event, but a deep rhythmic expression of the universe. It is a constant reminder that in the vastness of space, everything is connected. Every ripple in the ocean, every movement of the moon is part of a grand and intricate design. As the waves retreat, they carry with them not just water, but stories, ancient memories that have been shaped by the moon's silent pull. The beauty of the tides lies in their predictability. Day after day, the ocean responds to the moon's gravitational pull, rising and falling with an elegance that never seems to tire. There is comfort in this constancy, a quiet assurance that no matter how much the world may change, some things will remain steady. The moon, with its gentle force, ensures that the tides will always return. In this, the tides mirror the cycles of our own lives, the ebb and flow of our emotions, our thoughts, and our experiences. The ocean's constant rhythm reminds us that nothing is permanent, but everything is cyclical. Just as the tide will always return, so too do moments of joy, of sorrow, and of peace. In many ways, the tides can teach us about resilience. Though the ocean may retreat in the face of the moon's pull, it always returns. The waves may crash and fall back, but they never disappear. They simply wait, gathering strength for the next wave, the next rise. It's a quiet testament to the resilience of life itself, the ability to face hardship and retreat when needed, but to always return stronger than before. The tides, like life, are not about avoiding the low points, but about learning how to rise again, no matter how many times we fall. As we stand on the shore, watching the waves roll in, we realize that the moon's pull is not just a scientific phenomenon, but a symbol of something much larger. It is a symbol of the unseen forces that guide us, shaping our path in ways we may never fully understand. The tides, like life, are not always in our control, but we can learn to dance with them, to move with their rhythm, to trust that the ebb and flow is a natural part of the process. The moon also teaches us about the importance of balance. Just as the moon's gravitational pull creates the high tide and low tide, there is balance in the forces that shape our world. The Earth's spin, the water's resistance, the pull of the sun, all these forces work together in harmony, creating the gentle rise and fall of the ocean. In our own lives, we too must learn to balance the forces that pull at us. There are times when we must push forward, rise to meet challenges, and there are times when we must retreat, gather our strength, and wait for the next opportunity. The dance between the Earth and the Moon is a perfect example of how forces greater than ourselves shape our world. We may not always understand the forces at work in our own lives, but like the tides, we are always responding to them. It is a reminder that there is a natural rhythm to life, one that moves us forward even when we cannot see the path ahead. The moon's pull may be invisible, but it is powerful, guiding us through each moment, each challenge, each triumph. And just as the tides return to the shore, so too do we return to ourselves, each time stronger and more attuned to the world around us. The tides in their gentle rise and fall also remind us of the power of the unseen. We cannot see the moon's gravity, yet we feel its effects on the ocean. Similarly, there are forces in our lives that we may not see but that shape our thoughts, our actions, and our destinies. These forces, love, memory, hope, desire, are like the gravitational pull of the moon, quietly moving us, shaping us, even when we cannot fully understand them. And just as the tides are an essential part of the Earth's rhythm, these unseen forces are an essential part of who we are. There is a peace that comes from this realization, a peace that settles over us like the quiet whisper of the ocean as it retreats back into the sea. The tides are not something to control or fight against. They are something to work with, something to embrace. They are a part of us, just as the moon is a part of the sky. And as we watch the waves retreat and return, we are reminded that we too are part of a larger dance, a dance that will continue long after we are gone. The moon's quiet pull, its gentle influence over the ocean, is a reminder that there is much in the world that we cannot see or control. But there is also a quiet power in this, an understanding that just as the tides return, so too will we find our way back, time and time again. The moon watches over us, and so does the ocean, whispering its stories and its rhythms, offering us a moment of reflection, of peace and of connection to something much greater than ourselves. As the tide finally recedes and the moon fades behind the clouds, you can almost hear the quiet echo of the ocean's song. It's a song that will continue, steady and eternal, rising and falling with the rhythm of the moon forever and ever. And in that rhythm there is a quiet assurance that everything in time will find its way back home. The coast is alive with a rhythm known only to the ocean. The waves kiss the shore and retreat, pulling away as if whispering secrets to the sand. Every inch of the coastline bears witness to the gentle touch of the tides, which, like a patient artist, shape the land over time. It is a dance, this ebb and flow, one that speaks of change and permanence, of creation and decay. As the tide rises and falls, it carves its mark into the land, shaping cliffs, beaches and shores with a quiet persistence. There is something mysterious about this rhythm, something that suggests a deep connection between the ocean and the land. It is as though the tides have an understanding with the shore, a shared memory that stretches back through time. When we stand by the ocean, we may feel as though we are at the edge of something ancient and eternal, where the land and the sea come together, only to be pulled apart again in an endless cycle. But it is in this separation, in this quiet coming and going, that the shore itself is born. The power of the tides to shape the coastline is immense, though we often don't realize it. The high tide brings with it a flood of water that rushes up the shore, touching everything in its path. As the water flows, it carries with it grains of sand, pebbles and shells, all of which are slowly deposited on the land. And when the tide retreats, it takes with it the traces of its visit, leaving behind a new shoreline, sculpted and reshaped by its passage. This process, though subtle, is constant. Over time, the coastline begins to change, ever so slowly but surely. Cliffs are worn down, beaches are built up and islands are formed or erased, all by the quiet force of the tides. The coastline's transformation is not always visible to the naked eye. It is a slow, steady process, a change that takes place over years, decades and centuries. But if we look closely, we can see the signs, the jagged edges of cliffs worn smooth by centuries of waves, the smooth curves of beaches that have been shaped by the eternal dance of the tide. The tides may seem like a simple rhythm, but they are in fact the sculptors of the land, carving out new features and reshaping old ones. As the ocean moves, it is not just reshaping the land physically, but also influencing the life that calls it home. The creatures of the shore, crabs, birds, starfish, and countless others, depend on the changing tides. The rising and falling water brings food to those creatures that live in the intertidal zone, the narrow strip of land between high and low tide. When the tide comes in, it brings with it nutrients and small creatures, a feast for those that dwell in this in-between world. When the tide recedes, it leaves behind pools of water, each a small ecosystem in itself where creatures can live, eat and reproduce. These creatures are inextricably tied to the rhythm of the tides. Without the constant rise and fall of the ocean, they would not survive. The tides are the lifeblood of the shore, providing the water, food and environment that support life in this unique ecosystem. As the tide pulls away, the shore is left empty for a while, a barren stretch of sand or rocks, until the next wave comes rushing in, bringing with it the pulse of life once more. It is this cycle, this eternal ebb and flow, that sustains the life of the shore, weaving together the land, the sea, and the creatures that inhabit both. The power of the tides is not limited to the shores. Far out in the ocean, the tides can be felt too. The vast open water is constantly in motion, rising and falling, though the movement is much less noticeable than on the shore. This slow rhythmic pull has a profound effect on the ocean currents, which in turn influence the weather, the climate, and the health of the oceans themselves. The tides help to circulate water across the globe, bringing warmth to the cold and cold to the warm, helping to maintain a delicate balance in the world's climate. The tides, then, are not just a physical force. They are a force that connects the land to the sea, the ocean to the sky, and life to the earth. They shape the coastline and the ecosystems that depend on it, create new landforms, and even influence the weather patterns that govern the world. The tides remind us that the world is always changing, always in motion, and that the smallest forces can have the largest impacts. And yet, despite their immense power, the tides are not a force of chaos. They are measured, rhythmic, predictable, each rise and fall marking the passage of time, a reminder that even in a world of constant change, there are patterns and cycles that we can rely on. The tides are both an artist and a caretaker, shaping the shore while nurturing the life that depends on it. In the quiet coming and going of the waves, there is a wisdom, a reminder that even the most powerful forces in the world must move with grace and patience, carving their path slowly but surely across time. The shore, with its sweeping curves and jagged edges, is a living canvas, constantly transformed by the rhythms of the tides. As the moon's pull tugs at the ocean, it moves the water in subtle yet powerful ways, shifting the sand and the stones beneath. Over time, the actions of the tide create something far more than just a physical change. They shape the very identity of the land. The coastline is never the same from one day to the next. It is a place of constant change, where each tide leaves behind its own mark, whether large or small. And yet, despite these transformations, there is something timeless about the coast, a sense that the tide has always been here, and always will be. Take a moment to consider the vastness of the ocean, stretching far beyond the horizon, its deep blue waters barely visible under the pale glow of the moon. The tides may seem to be confined to the shoreline, but their influence reaches out into the open sea, touching everything it encounters. Just as the pull of the moon influences the oceans, it also affects the rivers and lakes, pulling water in and out of their banks, and even drawing the currents of the air in ways we may not fully understand. It's as though the earth itself is caught in the gentle embrace of the moon, and the oceans, in turn, respond with every rise and fall, shaping the land as they have for millions of years. As the tide rises and spills over the shoreline, it not only reshapes the coast but also breathes life into it. The sea has a way of replenishing itself, of gathering new strength with each return. The tide brings with it nutrients from the deep ocean, vital food for the creatures that live on the shore. As the water pulls back, it leaves behind pools of water that serve as temporary homes for small fish, crabs and mollusks, each one of them dependent on the tides to thrive. The intertidal zone, that narrow strip of land between high and low tide, is one of the most dynamic ecosystems on the planet. Here, life flourishes, supported by the gentle push and pull of the ocean. In the quiet of low tide, when the ocean has retreated, the shore takes on a different character. The wet sand glistens in the soft light of the setting sun, revealing hidden treasures that the tide has left behind, smooth pebbles, shells and seaweed, each with a story to tell. The land, now exposed, breathes in the cool air, resting before the next wave arrives. For a brief moment the shoreline is still, a peaceful pause in the ocean's relentless rhythm. Yet even in this stillness, the shore is always changing, constantly reshaped by the tides that will soon return. It's easy to forget how much the tides shape our world until we notice the small, quiet changes that occur over time. The way a cliff face is slowly eroded by the water's constant touch, how a beach grows or shrinks with each passing tide, or how a new sandbar forms in the middle of the bay. These transformations happen slowly, imperceptibly, yet they're no less powerful for their subtlety. The tides are not a force to be feared. Rather, they are a force that nurtures and creates, bringing life and change with each wave. The relationship between the land and the sea is a delicate balance. While the tides may carve away at the land, they also help to protect it. The water, in its constant movement, carries away the debris and detritus, cleaning the shore and replenishing it with new material. Beaches, for example, are constantly replenished by the sand carried in by the tide. Over time, this constant process of erosion and renewal has shaped the coastline into its current form, and it will continue to do so as long as the tides remain. The shore, then, is not just a collection of sand and rocks, but a living, breathing entity that is constantly being reshaped by the tides. But it's not just the coastline itself that is affected by the tides. The creatures that live in the ocean are also shaped by the rise and fall of the water. Fish, seals and birds all rely on the changing tides to help them find food, to breed and to migrate. For example, many fish species lay their eggs in the shallow waters of the intertidal zone, where the water is warm and nutrient-rich. As the tide comes in, these eggs are swept out to sea where they can hatch and grow. The tides also influence the movement of plankton, which drifts with the ebb and flow of the water, feeding the many creatures that rely on them for sustenance. In this way, the tides create a world of interconnectedness, where every living thing has its role to play. The rising tide brings life to the shore, while the retreating tide creates space for rest and renewal. It is a constant cycle of creation and transformation, of life and death, of growth and decay. The shore, shaped by the tides, is a place where life thrives in the ebb and flow of the ocean, where every rise and fall is a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. The tides also remind us that time, much like the ocean, is ever moving. Just as the water rises and falls, so too do the moments of our lives, coming and going, in an endless cycle. The tides remind us that change is a constant, that nothing stays the same forever. The shore, constantly reshaped by the ocean, is a metaphor for our own lives. A reminder that, like the tides, we are always changing, always evolving, always moving forward. And just as the tides return to the shore again and again, so too will we find ourselves returning to the places, people, and experiences that shape us. The beauty of the tides lies not in their power, but in their quiet, persistent nature. They do not rush or force their will upon the land. Instead, they gently shape it, one wave at a time. There is a lesson in this for us. Just as the tides reshape the coastline with patience and grace, so too must we navigate our own lives, embracing change and allowing ourselves to be shaped by the world around us. We, like the shore, are constantly being reshaped by the forces that move us, and it is in this movement that we find our true connection to the earth and the ocean, to the land and the sky. As the rhythm of the tides continues, we begin to notice something profound in the way the coastlines change. How, over time, the ocean reshapes itself into new forms. The tides do not merely pass through, leaving behind only traces of their passing. They are active participants in a long, slow transformation that spans centuries, shaping the shore into a constantly evolving masterpiece. The sea's constant touch leaves its fingerprint on the land, and as the land changes, so too does the life it supports. The coastline is not just a boundary between land and sea, It is a place of interaction, a meeting of two worlds that are in many ways in constant conversation. As the tides rise and fall, the shoreline transforms, adapting to the forces of nature. It is as if the ocean is telling the land stories, writing them with each wave that crashes against the shore. The beach, the cliffs, the rocky outcrops, they all bear the marks of this quiet dialogue. Some sections of the coastline will erode away entirely, washed away by years of relentless tides, while others will grow, reshaped by the constant deposit of sand and sediment. In some places, this dance between the ocean and the land has been happening for so long that it's almost impossible to imagine a time when it was different. The jagged cliffs of a rocky coastline, shaped over millennia, stand as silent sentinels to the passage of time. The smooth, sandy beaches, constantly replenished by the tides, shift and change, creating new formations, new patterns, new landscapes. This ongoing process is a reminder that nothing in nature is static. Everything is in a constant state of flux, guided by forces far greater than ourselves. The way the tides shape the coastline is a story of resilience. The sea is patient, and over time it transforms even the hardest rocks into sand. But it is not a process of destruction. The ocean does not seek to destroy the land, but to reshape it, to create new forms, new ecosystems. With each tide, the land is made anew, evolving, adapting to the forces that shape it. And as the shoreline evolves, so too do the creatures that depend on it. Birds, fish, plants, all of them adapt to the changing coastline, finding new places to thrive with each shift in the tide. Yet, it is not only the land and sea that change through the tides. The relationship between them, this quiet, eternal dance, is also a reminder of the fragility of life. The tides remind us that everything, no matter how solid or permanent it seems, is constantly changing. The shore, which may appear firm and stable, is always in flux. The cliffs that seem unyielding and eternal are eroded a little more with each wave. The sands that stretch across the beach may one day be swept away, replaced by new shores, new landscapes. This cycle is both humbling and beautiful, a reminder that life, too, is shaped by forces larger than ourselves. As we stand at the water's edge, watching the waves roll in and retreat, there is a deep sense of peace that comes from knowing that the tides will always return. The ocean does not ask for permission, it simply moves with the rhythm of the earth and the moon. It flows in and out, constantly reshaping the land, constantly evolving, always in motion. This natural force has been at work for eons, shaping the earth into the world we know today. And it will continue long after we are gone, leaving behind traces of its passing, evidence of the quiet, persistent power that shapes our world. The tides also serve as a reminder that change is not always something to fear. Just as the coastline is reshaped by the tides, so too are we shaped by the experiences, the moments, the forces of life that touch us. Some changes are slow, almost imperceptible, but over time they shape who we are. We too move through life like the tides, sometimes rising, sometimes retreating, always adapting. Like the coastline, we are shaped by the forces around us, but we also shape the world in return, leaving our own marks, our own stories on the land we walk. It's easy to overlook the power of the tides when we are caught up in the busy rhythms of our lives. But when we pause, when we listen to the gentle rhythm of the ocean, we are reminded that change is constant. The tides do not ask for attention, yet they transform the world with each wave, each rise and fall. They remind us that change doesn't need to be forced. It comes in its own time, gentle and steady, like the tide. The ocean and the land exist in a harmonious balance, a dance that has been unfolding for millions of years. The tides are the unseen force guiding the land to evolve, to grow, to change. This is a process that will continue for as long as the moon pulls at the earth. The tides will rise, the land will shift, and life will continue to adapt. And in this eternal dance there is comfort. There is a deep, quiet wisdom in knowing that we are part of something much larger, a rhythm that connects us to the earth, to the sea, and to the endless cycle of creation. As the tide recedes once again, we are reminded of the beauty of the world's rhythms. The ocean, though vast and seemingly infinite, is always changing, always moving, and always reshaping the land. It is a force of nature, yet it is also a force of life, gently guiding us through the passage of time, offering us a quiet, peaceful rhythm to follow as we move through our own cycles. And as long as the tides continue to rise and fall, we will know that the world, with all its change and transformation, is moving in a rhythm that is both constant and eternal. The ocean has always whispered secrets, ancient tales carried on the back of the waves. It speaks a language that, though we may never fully understand it, we feel deep within ourselves. The constant rhythm of the waters, the gentle rise and fall of the tide, is more than just a natural phenomenon. It is a reminder of the profound connections that bind us to the earth, to the moon, and to the universe itself. Every wave that laps the shore carries with it a story, one that has been unfolding for billions of years since the first drop of water fell upon the earth. Imagine standing at the edge of the sea, where the cool water touches your toes and the rhythmic sound of the waves fills the air. With each rise and fall of the water, you feel a quiet pulse that connects you to something much greater than yourself. The ocean moves in time with the moon, as though the two are in a delicate dance, exchanging silent messages with each shift of the tide. It is a dance that has existed long before we were born, and one that will continue long after we are gone. The pull of the moon on the ocean is a force that is both powerful and subtle, shaping the rhythm of the waters with a quiet grace. As the moon moves across the sky, its gravitational force tugs at the oceans, drawing the water towards it. This pull causes the water to rise, creating the high tide. As the moon moves further away, the water slowly recedes, returning to the low tide. This gentle ebb and flow is the heartbeat of the earth, a rhythm that we can feel in our bones, even if we don't fully understand it. But the moon's influence is not just about the water rising and falling. It also shapes the very rhythm of the world itself. The movement of the tides helps to regulate the Earth's rotation, slowing it down ever so slightly over time. This interaction between the Earth and the moon is a delicate balance, a subtle choreography that has been unfolding for eons. The moon, with its steady pull, has shaped not only the oceans but the very nature of the Earth's motion. And in turn, the Earth responds to the moon, moving with it, breathing in time with the tides. The ocean, in its quiet motion, reminds us that there is much we cannot see or fully understand, but that doesn't make it any less real. The forces that govern the tides, the pull of the moon, the spin of the Earth, the movement of the stars, are all part of a greater unseen rhythm that connects everything in the universe. The ocean, as it rises and falls, is not just a body of water. It is a reflection of the cosmic dance that has been happening since the beginning of time, a dance that is as old as the moon itself. As we stand by the ocean, watching the waves ebb and flow, we begin to understand that the moon's pull on the ocean is more than just a scientific fact. It is a symbol of the quiet, unseen forces that shape our world. The tides remind us that life is not always about control or dominance, but about balance and rhythm. Just as the moon gently pulls at the oceans, we too are guided by forces greater than ourselves, forces that shape our path in ways we may not fully understand. There is something deeply calming in this realization. The tides are not hurried. They come and go in their own time, following a pattern that is as old as the earth itself. The moon's pull is constant, unwavering, like the steady beat of a drum. And as the water rises and falls, we are reminded that life too has its rhythm, a rhythm that we can trust, even when we don't fully understand it. The ocean moves with the moon, and we too are moved by forces that guide us through life. In this dance between the earth, the moon and the ocean, there is a quiet wisdom. The tides do not rush or force their will upon the shore. They move with patience, with grace, following the rhythm that has been set in motion by the stars. There is a lesson in this for us, that we too should move with the rhythm of life, trusting in the quiet forces that guide us. Just as the ocean rises and falls with each tide, we too must learn to flow with the cycles of life, embracing both the high tides and the low. The ocean's rhythm, shaped by the moon's unseen pull, is one of the oldest and most consistent patterns in nature. It is a rhythm that, while seemingly simple, carries profound depth. Each wave that breaks on the shore carries within it the whispers of the universe. It is as if the ocean, in its quiet ebb and flow, is reflecting the cosmic dance of celestial bodies, where gravity, motion, and time come together to create the living world we experience. As we sit quietly by the shore, it becomes clear that the rhythm of the waters is not just about the tides. It is about the balance between the land, the sea, and the sky. The moon in its celestial orbit pulls at the oceans, but it is the Earth's rotation, its turning on its axis, that creates the full circle of the tides. The Earth, like a dancer moving in time with the moon, spins on its axis, and as it does, different regions of the oceans feel the pull of the moon's gravity, experiencing high and low tides throughout the day. It is a beautiful harmony, a reminder of how the earth, the moon and the sun work together in a dance that has been playing out since the dawn of time. The ocean moves, and as it does, it shapes the land, creating new features, new landscapes. Beaches shift, cliffs erode, and sandbars rise and fall, all in response to the steady rhythm of the tides. The water, in its quiet persistence, sculpts the coastlines, carving out caves, shaping rocks, and smoothing the sharp edges of the land. It is a slow and steady process, one that takes place over years and centuries, but it is also one that is undeniably powerful. But it is not just the physical transformation that the ocean brings. The tides also have a deep influence on the life that calls the shore home. The rising tide brings with it the nourishment of the deep ocean, bringing plankton and small fish to the shore. The creatures that live in the intertidal zone, those that live in the space between high and low tide, are completely dependent on the movements of the water. The tidal pools that form as the water recedes become temporary homes for starfish, crabs and other creatures, each finding shelter in the shallow water left behind. The rhythm of the tides, in a sense, brings life to the shore, providing a constant source of food and shelter for those who live there. The ocean's movement is also a reflection of time itself. The tides mark the passage of hours, days, months, and years. They are a constant reminder that time moves forward, unrelenting yet with a gentle rhythm. Each cycle of the tides represents another moment in the grand unfolding of the world. Just as the tides rise and fall with the moon's pull, so too do the moments of our lives ebb and flow. We too experience high tides of joy and success, and low tides of reflection and rest. In this way, the tides become a metaphor for the rhythm of life, reminding us that both moments of growth and moments of retreat are part of the same natural cycle. In the ebb and flow of the tides, there is a deep sense of continuity. The waters that lap against the shore today are the same waters that have touched this land for millions of years. The tides are a constant presence, never changing in their rhythm, always following the same pattern, even as the world around them shifts and evolves. This consistency is a source of comfort, a reminder that no matter how much the world changes, there are forces at work that remain steady and reliable. Perhaps the most profound lesson the tides offer us is one of patience. The tides do not rush to meet the shore. They come slowly, gently, as if in time with their own natural rhythm. They rise and fall at their own pace, each movement steady and deliberate. There is no hurry, no sense of urgency. The tide knows that its time will come, and when it does, it will rise with the pull of the moon. And when the time comes to retreat, it will do so with grace, leaving behind only traces of its passage. In our own lives, we can learn much from the way the tides move. There are times when we too must rise with purpose and strength, like the ocean meeting the shore. And there are times when we must retreat, taking a step back to rest and reflect. Like the ocean, we must trust the rhythm of our lives, knowing that both the high tides and the low tides have their place. The moon's pull is gentle, but it is steady, and so must be our own approach to life. We must move with grace, knowing that there is a time for everything, the rising, the falling, the stillness, and the movement. The rhythm of the tides reminds us that nothing is permanent, and that everything has its natural ebb and flow. As the moon continues its quiet journey across the sky, its pull remains constant, guiding the ocean with a gentle hand. The tides rise and fall, moving in time with the celestial dance that has been playing out for eons. The waves crash softly on the shore, a reminder that no matter where we are in life, we are always part of something much greater. The rhythm of the tides, like the rhythm of life, is eternal, a steady pulse that carries us through time, reminding us of the forces that shape our world and our lives. As the ocean's rhythm continues to guide the land, we begin to notice a deeper, almost spiritual connection between the tides and the world around us. The tide may seem like a simple natural occurrence, but in truth, it carries with it a profound wisdom, one that speaks to the cycles of nature, the passage of time, and the interconnectedness of all life. The ocean moves in harmony with the moon, responding to its gentle pull with a quiet grace. But in its movements there is more than just water, there is life, there is history, and there is a story that stretches across the vastness of time. The tides do not exist in isolation. They are part of a larger system, one that encompasses the Earth, the Moon, and even the Sun. Together, these celestial bodies create a delicate balance, one that governs not just the movement of the ocean, but the very pulse of life on Earth. The rhythms of the tides are not only shaped by the Moon's gravitational pull, but also by the forces of the Sun, the rotation of the Earth, and the tilt of its axis. These interactions create a pattern, a dance that has been unfolding for billions of years and will continue long after we are gone. It is a reminder that in the grand scheme of things, we are but a small part of an eternal rhythm, one that connects us to the universe in ways we cannot fully understand. As we watch the tide move in and out, it becomes clear that there is a beauty in this constant motion. The ocean is never still. Even in moments of calm, the water is always in motion, moving with the subtle pull of the moon. This constant movement is a reminder that nothing in life is ever truly stagnant. We too are always in motion, always changing, always evolving. Like the tides, we rise and fall, moving through different phases, experiencing moments of growth and retreat. The rhythm of the tides teaches us to embrace this flow, to move with grace through the changes that life brings, and to trust that, just as the tide will always return, so too will we find our way back to balance after every storm. In the quiet of the night, when the moon is high in the sky and the stars twinkle softly above, the rhythm of the tides feels even more profound. The world is still, the only sound, the gentle crash of the waves against the shore. In this peaceful moment, we are reminded that the forces that shape the ocean are the same forces that shape us. The ebb and flow of the tide are not just a physical movement, but a reflection of the larger cycles of life, the birth and death of stars, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the quiet passage of time. The tides also speak to us of patience. As the water slowly rises, inch by inch, we are reminded that progress is not always immediate. Like the tide, we must be patient with ourselves, allowing the natural rhythms of life to guide us. We may face moments of difficulty or resistance, but just as the tide eventually reaches its peak, so too will our efforts bear fruit. The ocean teaches us that change, like the tide, takes time. It is not something that happens all at once, but something that unfolds gradually, piece by piece, over time. The tide also reminds us of the importance of balance. The moon's pull is not just a force that moves the water, it is a force that maintains equilibrium. The rising tide is countered by the falling tide, and together they create a balance that is essential for life on Earth. This balance is mirrored in the way we navigate our own lives. We must find balance between work and rest, between action and reflection, between giving and receiving. Just as the ocean's rhythm maintains the balance of the land, so too must we maintain balance in our own lives, understanding that both action and stillness are necessary for growth. As we stand on the shore watching the tide rise and fall, there is a sense of awe and wonder. The moon, so far above us, has the power to shape the ocean, to create rhythms that have existed for billions of years, and yet, despite its vastness, the moon's pull is gentle, subtle, almost imperceptible. It is a reminder that even the smallest forces can have the most profound impact. The tide's influence on the shore is not immediate or violent. It is gradual, patient, and persistent. It is this quiet, constant pull that shapes the world, creating and reshaping coastlines, ecosystems, and even the lives of those who live by the sea. The tides remind us that we too are part of a much larger rhythm, one that is shaped by forces beyond our comprehension. Just as the moon pulls at the ocean, so too do the forces of the universe shape our lives. We may not always understand these forces, but they are always present, guiding us, moving us forward, just as the tide moves toward the shore. And like the ocean, we must trust the rhythm of life, knowing that it will carry us through, even when we cannot see what lies ahead. In the end, the ocean's rhythm is a secret shared by the moon. a secret that speaks of the beauty of the cycles of nature, the interconnectedness of all life, and the quiet power of patience, balance, and grace. As the tide moves in and out, it whispers to us of the timeless dance between the earth and the moon, a dance that will continue long after we are gone, and one that reminds us of our own place in the vast, ever-changing rhythm of the universe. The ocean is alive with a language that is older than words. It is a conversation that takes place beneath the surface in the rhythm of the tides. Each wave that rises and falls is a message from the ocean to the land, a quiet dialogue between the earth and the moon. There is a power in this exchange, a force that governs not just the waters, but the very fabric of life on our planet. And though we may not fully understand the words being spoken, we can feel their presence resonating in our bones, in the pulse of the ocean itself. At the heart of this conversation is the pull of the moon, a force so subtle, yet so powerful that it has shaped the Earth for billions of years. The moon's gravitational influence extends far beyond the stars, reaching into the depths of the ocean. When the moon's pull touches the Earth, it tugs at the waters, pulling them towards it, creating the high tide. This gravitational force is not violent or sudden, but gentle and steady, like the hand of a patient teacher guiding its pupil. The water responds, slowly rising, pushing against the shore as if answering the call of the moon. The movement of the tides is a reflection of this quiet, persistent force. As the moon travels across the sky, it shifts the ocean's rhythm, causing the waters to rise and fall in a constant cycle. This rhythm is not only a natural occurrence, but a reflection of something much deeper, a reflection of the way the universe itself moves, how the stars align, and how the planets spin in their celestial dance. The moon, though far away, has a constant presence, influencing the waters below with a quiet and unspoken authority. It is as if the moon is whispering to the earth, speaking to the ocean in a language that only the water can understand. Yet the moon does not control the ocean with brute force. The relationship between the earth, the moon, and the ocean is one of balance, a quiet partnership that allows both to exist in harmony. The ocean does not rush to meet the moon's pull. Instead, it rises gently in its own time, following the rhythm of the tide. And when the moon's influence wanes, the ocean does not fight against the retreat. It simply flows back, receding into the deep, as if honouring the natural cycle of life itself. This ebb and flow is not chaotic but rhythmic, a quiet conversation between two celestial bodies that have been in constant communication for eons. As we watch the waves roll in and out, it is easy to forget the intricate forces at work, shaping the tides and the world around us. The pull of the moon is invisible, a force that we cannot see but can feel in every rise and fall of the ocean. The tides are not just a phenomenon of the water, they are a reflection of the gravitational pull that connects all things in the universe. The same forces that move the oceans also move the stars, the planets, and the very fabric of space itself. And in this way, the ocean becomes a mirror, reflecting the silent, unseen forces that govern the universe. In a way, the tides remind us of our own place in the vastness of the cosmos. Just as the ocean responds to the pull of the moon, so too do we respond to the forces that shape our lives. We may not always understand these forces, but we can feel them guiding us through life. The tides are a constant reminder that there are patterns in the universe that are larger than ourselves, that the ebb and flow of life is part of a much greater rhythm. And as we stand on the shore watching the water rise and fall, we are reminded that we too are part of this dance, moving in time with the celestial forces that shape our world. The ocean's quiet conversation with the moon is a conversation that has been taking place for billions of years and will continue for billions more. It is a dance of gravity and rhythm, a timeless cycle that has shaped the Earth's landscapes, its ecosystems, and its very atmosphere. The tides are not just a physical event, they are a symbol of the larger, unseen forces that guide us, that move through us, and that shape our lives. The moon's pull is a reminder that we are part of something far greater than ourselves, connected to the universe in ways we may never fully understand, but can always feel in the quiet ebb and flow of the ocean. In the soft, rhythmic movement of the tides, there is a lesson. It is a lesson in patience, in trust, in the quiet power of persistence. The ocean rises and falls with the moon's pull, not in haste, but in its own time, knowing that the rhythm of the tides will always return. And so too must we move through life with the understanding that everything has its own time, that we are not always in control, but that the forces of the universe are at work, guiding us through each rise and fall. Just as the ocean trusts the moon, so too must we trust in the rhythm of life, knowing that each moment, each cycle, is part of a much larger, timeless dance. The more we observe the relationship between the moon and the ocean, the clearer it becomes that their conversation is one of delicate balance. The moon, though distant, has an undeniable influence over the tides, yet the ocean responds with grace, as if it has been waiting for this moment to unfold. This gentle, constant interaction speaks to a rhythm that is as old as the earth itself, a rhythm that has been shaping the coastline, the land, and life itself for millennia. The ebb and flow of the ocean are not merely a series of waves. They are the whispers of time, the ongoing movement of the world, reflecting the forces that shape every living thing. One of the most profound aspects of the tides is their consistency. The moon's influence never wavers. It rises and sets, pulling at the oceans in the same rhythm, day after day. This rhythmic motion offers a comforting predictability, a gentle assurance that some forces in the universe remain constant, no matter how much the world around us changes. It's a reminder that even in a world full of uncertainty, there are forces we can rely on, forces that provide a sense of stability and continuity. As the moon's pull shapes the oceans, it also affects the very land it touches. The rise and fall of the tide are not just a result of the water's movement, they are a response to the land beneath. The coastline, shaped by the constant cycle of the tide, reveals the deep impact of the moon's subtle influence. Every shore, every stretch of beach, every cliff and rocky outcrop tells the story of this quiet conversation between the ocean and the moon. The land, though firm and unmoving, is shaped and reshaped by the relentless pulse of the tide, constantly changing and evolving in response to the gravitational pull. The high tide brings with it the ocean's embrace, rushing up the shore to meet the land. In these moments, the boundaries between the ocean and the land blur, as if the sea is reminding the earth of their connection. The waters push up against rocks and sand, claiming new territory, bringing with it nutrients and life from the depths. When the tide retreats, it leaves behind a new shore, smoothed and reshaped, carrying with it the treasures of the deep, the shells, the seaweed, the creatures that call the water home. Each rise and fall of the tide is a reminder that life itself is in constant motion, constantly changing, and that each shift in the landscape brings new possibilities for growth and renewal. Yet while the tides are driven by the gravitational force of the moon, they are also a result of the Earth's own movement. The Earth's rotation on its axis causes different parts of the ocean to feel the pull of the moon at different times. As the Earth turns, new areas of the ocean experience the rise and fall of the tides, creating a dance that is as much about the Earth's rotation as it is about the moon's pull. This interaction between the Earth's movement and the moon's force creates a dynamic rhythm that plays out every day, weaving the movements of the ocean into a beautiful, constant cycle. In this way, the tides become a reflection of the interconnectedness of all things. The moon's pull is not an isolated force. It is part of a larger system, a system that includes the Earth's rotation, the sun's energy, and the ever-changing atmosphere. The ocean, in its response to these forces, moves in perfect harmony with the Earth. It is a reminder that every part of the universe is connected, that the smallest movement in one part of the world can ripple out and affect everything around it. The tides remind us that we too are part of a larger system, that our actions and decisions have consequences that echo out in ways we may never fully understand. As the water recedes from the shore, the land reveals the marks of the moon's conversation with the ocean. The wet sand glistens, the rocks are smoothed, and the shoreline takes on a different shape. The sea has left its mark, and as it retreats, it leaves behind the evidence of its quiet, persistent force. This process of shaping the coastline is slow and steady, but it is relentless. Over time, cliffs erode, beaches grow and shrink, and new landforms emerge, all in response to the ebb and flow of the tide. The land is never static. It is constantly being shaped by the forces of nature, constantly being remade by the ocean's conversation with the moon. The tides in their quiet power are also a reminder of the passage of time. Each cycle of the tide represents a moment in the eternal dance of the earth and the moon. The rise and fall of the water mark the passage of hours, days, and seasons. They are a reminder that time moves forward, that the world is always changing, always evolving. Just as the moon's pull shapes the oceans, so too do the moments of our lives shape us. We rise and fall with the tides, experiencing the highs and lows that come with each new cycle. And like the tides, we too must learn to flow with the rhythm of life, to trust that each cycle has its own purpose, and that every rise will eventually be followed by a fall. There is a profound beauty in this rhythm. The tides do not hurry, they move at their own pace in perfect harmony with the natural world. They come and go with quiet grace, leaving behind only the marks of their passage. In this way, the tides teach us the value of patience, of moving through life with a sense of calm and acceptance. Just as the ocean flows with the pull of the moon, we too must learn to move with the rhythm of life, accepting both the moments of growth and the times of rest. The tides remind us that life is not a race but a slow, steady dance, one that moves in time with the universe. As we watch the tide rise and fall, we are reminded of the quiet power of the forces that shape our world. The moon's pull is subtle, but it is unrelenting. It shapes the ocean, the land, and the very rhythm of life itself. And as long as the moon continues its journey across the sky, the tides will continue to shape the world, one rise and fall at a time. Beneath the surface of the ocean, something extraordinary happens every time the moon rises. The tides are not just a simple movement of water, they are a conversation, a rhythmic exchange between the earth and the moon, a dance that has been unfolding for eons. Each wave that crashes against the shore carries within it a memory, a reflection of the moon's constant touch. The ocean, with all its vastness and depth, remembers the pull of the moon. It remembers how it has been shaped by the gravity that draws the water upward, causing it to rise and fall in time with the cosmic rhythm. Imagine standing on the shore, the soft sand beneath your feet, the scent of the sea filling the air. The moon rises above, casting a silver glow over the water. You watch as the ocean shifts, a quiet surge, as if the moon itself is calling the water to come forward. It is in these moments, when the tide comes in, that the ocean feels as if it is alive, responding to a call that it has heard for millions of years. The waves rise and retreat, following the pull of the moon, as they have done since the beginning of time. But what is it that makes the ocean remember this pull so well? The ocean remembers because it has always been in tune with the rhythm of the moon. Every part of the ocean, from the shallowest shores to the deepest trenches, feels the effects of the moon's gravitational force. As the moon moves across the sky, its influence shifts the water, creating high tides and low tides, like the pulse of the earth itself. This steady, predictable rhythm is more than just a natural phenomenon. It is a testament to the way the earth, the moon, and the ocean have been entwined in a delicate dance for as long as the earth has existed. The ocean's memory is not just about the physical movement of water. It is about the deep underlying forces that shape the world. The moon's pull is not just a physical force. It is a reminder that everything in the universe is interconnected, that the movements of the heavens have direct consequences on the earth. The tides are a reflection of this interconnectedness, a quiet conversation between the earth and the moon, one that is felt not only in the movement of the water, but in the very heartbeat of the planet. As the water rises and falls, it carries with it the memories of all the cycles that have come before, of all the moments when the ocean was shaped by the touch of the moon. The ocean is like a vast memory bank, holding within it the stories of the Earth's past. The ebb and flow of the tides are a constant reminder of the passing of time, of the rhythms that govern the world. With each rise and fall of the water, the ocean records the present moment, adding it to the vast archive of the past. This rhythm is unbroken, steady, and reliable. The ocean has always known the dance of the tides, always remembered the pull of the moon, and it will continue to do so for as long as the Earth spins on its axis. But the ocean's memory is not just about the past, it is also about the future. Each tide brings with it the potential for something new. The ocean is not stagnant, it is in a constant state of change, of flux. The tides bring nutrients and life to the shores, reshaping the coastline, creating new habitats for creatures to thrive. The ocean remembers the patterns of the tides, but it also remembers the potential for renewal and growth. The water that recedes brings with it the seeds of new life, and the water that rises carries the promise of the future. As the ocean moves in time with the moon, it also reminds us that memory is not a static thing. It is not a mere collection of past events. Memory is alive, it is dynamic, it is constantly being reshaped by the present moment. Just as the tides are shaped by the moon's pull, so too are our memories shaped by the events of our lives. We carry within us the echoes of the past, but we also carry the potential for new experiences, new growth, and new beginnings. The ocean's memory is not confined to the past. It is a living, breathing thing, constantly being rewritten with each cycle, each wave, each tide. In this way, the ocean's relationship with the moon is a metaphor for our own relationship with the forces that shape our lives. The moon's pull on the ocean is constant, unwavering, but it is also a force that brings change, that creates new opportunities, that shapes the world in ways we cannot always see. Just as the ocean rises and falls with the pull of the moon, so too do we rise and fall with the forces that shape our lives. The ocean remembers, but it also moves forward, flowing with the rhythms of time, always ready to adapt, always ready to change. The tides remind us that we too are part of this dance. The pull of the moon shapes us, just as it shapes the ocean. We may not always feel it, but the forces that govern our lives are at work, pulling us in different directions, guiding us through the cycles of growth and change. The ocean's memory is not just a reminder of what has been. It is a reminder that the present moment is just as important, and that we too have the power to shape our own rhythms, to move with grace through the cycles of our own lives. As the ocean listens to the moon's constant call, we begin to realize that the tides are not just a physical event. They are a language. Each rise and fall of the water is a conversation, a subtle communication between the earth and the moon, and between the ocean and the land. The ocean, with its vast, endless expanse, has a memory that stretches across time, each wave carrying the stories of millennia. It is as though the moon is writing on the water, leaving behind impressions of its pull, messages that are recorded in every tide, in every ebb and flow. This dance between the earth, the moon, and the ocean is not just about the movement of water. It is about the way these forces shape the landscape and the ecosystems that depend on them. As the tides rise, they bring with them the life of the deep, the nutrients that feed the creatures of the shore. When the tide recedes, it leaves behind the evidence of its visit, the shells, the seaweed, the small creatures that cling to the rocks. The ocean remembers these cycles, just as the land does. The shore is constantly reshaped, moulded by the movement of the tides, the water carving out new spaces, eroding old ones. The shoreline is not static, it is alive, constantly changing, constantly adapting to the pull of the moon. This process of change is not violent, it is gentle, like the ebb and flow of the tides themselves. The ocean does not rush or force its will upon the land. It moves at its own pace, following the rhythm of the moon's pull. The water rises and falls, bringing life and taking it away, creating and destroying in a continuous cycle that has existed for billions of years. And yet, even in its quiet persistence, the ocean shapes the world around it. Each wave that crashes against the shore carries with it the potential for transformation, for new life to emerge, for new landscapes to take form. The ocean is a creator, a force that constantly reshapes the world, making room for new possibilities with each cycle of the tide. The moon's touch is not just a force of destruction, but one of renewal. The water that recedes from the shore brings with it the remnants of the past, the debris, the shells, the remnants of life that have come and gone. But it also brings with it the potential for new life, new growth. As the tide returns, it sweeps the shore clean, bringing with it the fresh waters of the ocean, the nutrients that nourish the creatures that live in the intertidal zone. The moon's pull, then, is not just a physical force, it is a force that nurtures, that sustains, that creates. It is a reminder that every cycle, every rise and fall carries with it the possibility of renewal, of rebirth. As we watch the water rise and fall, we are reminded that life, like the tides, is a constant cycle. We too experience moments of growth and retreat, of rising and falling, of movement and stillness. The ocean's memory, like our own, is not static. It is constantly being shaped by the forces that guide it, and it is constantly reshaping the world in response. Just as the ocean remembers the pull of the moon, so too do we remember the forces that shape our lives. These forces may be invisible, like the pull of gravity, but their effects are no less real. The tides remind us that we are part of a larger rhythm, one that is both ancient and ever-present, a rhythm that connects us to the earth, the moon, and the universe itself. The ocean's memory is also a reflection of the passage of time. The tides move with the rhythm of the moon, each cycle marking the passage of hours, days, and seasons. As the water rises and falls, it is a reminder that time is always moving forward, that nothing stays the same. The ocean may return to the same place, but the shore is never the same. Each tide brings with it the marks of its passage, reshaping the landscape in subtle ways. The sands shift, the rocks erode, the coastline changes, and yet the rhythm of the tides remains the same. This constant movement is a reflection of time itself, always flowing, always changing, always moving forward. In this way, the tides become a metaphor for the cycles of life. Just as the ocean rises and falls, so too do we experience moments of change, of growth, and of rest. There are times when we feel as though we are rising, when everything seems to be moving in the right direction, when we are full of energy and purpose. But there are also times when we must retreat, when we must rest and reflect, when we must gather strength for the next cycle. The ocean, in its quiet rhythm, teaches us that both the rise and the fall are necessary for growth, that both moments of expansion and contraction are part of the same natural cycle. As we stand by the shore, watching the water move in time with the moon, we are reminded that we too are part of this rhythm. The forces that shape the ocean also shape our lives. We may not always understand the forces at work, but we can feel their influence. The moon's pull is quiet but powerful, and like the ocean, we must learn to move with it, to trust the natural rhythm of life. Just as the ocean rises and falls, so too must we embrace both the high tides and the low, knowing that each cycle carries with it the potential for new beginnings, new opportunities, and new growth. The ocean's memory is not just a reflection of the past. It is a living, breathing force that shapes the present and the future. Every wave that crashes against the shore is a reminder that the past is always with us, shaping who we are and where we are going. And just as the tides are guided by the moon's pull, so too are we guided by the forces that shape our lives, moving in time with the rhythm of the universe. Beneath the quiet surface of the ocean lies a force so subtle, yet so powerful that it shapes the very nature of our world. It is a force that goes unnoticed by many, yet without it, the landscape of our planet would be vastly different. The moon, far from being just a pale beacon in the night sky, is the unseen force behind the rise and fall of the tides. Its gravitational pull is a silent one, never forcing its way, but always present, always guiding. It is a gentle force, but one that has shaped the Earth's waters for eons. This silent power has moved the oceans, sculpted coastlines, and regulated ecosystems, and yet it is something most people don't even think about as they walk along the shore. The moon's influence on the tides is a delicate and persistent one. It tugs at the Earth's oceans, pulling the water towards it, creating high tides. As the moon continues its orbit, the water recedes, leaving behind the low tides. It's a constant cycle, ebbing and flowing like a heartbeat, marking the passage of time. Each wave that crashes on the shore, each retreating tide carries with it the invisible mark of the moon's pull. It is a rhythm that has existed for as long as the Earth and the moon have been in their eternal dance. And even though this force is invisible to the naked eye, its effects are undeniable. The ocean moves because the moon calls it to move. Imagine standing by the shore at night, watching the waves come in, feeling the cool mist on your skin. The moon is high above, casting its pale glow over the water. The ocean responds, shifting with the rhythm of the tides, a quiet dance that has been going on for millennia. It's a moment of pure connection, when the forces of nature align and the earth and the moon speak without words. The ocean moves because the moon has asked it to, and it will continue to move long after we are gone. This dance, as ancient as time itself, is one that we are all a part of, whether we are aware of it or not. The power of the moon over the oceans is not just about the movement of water. It is about the relationship between the earth, the moon, and the sun. The sun's gravity also plays a role in shaping the tides, but it is the moon's closer proximity to the earth that gives it the greater influence. The gravitational forces of the sun and the moon interact, creating a complex pattern of tides. When the sun and the moon are aligned, during full moons and new moons, the tides are at their highest, known as spring tides. When the sun and the moon are at right angles to each other, during the first and third quarters of the moon, the tides are at their lowest, known as neap tides. This interplay between the moon, the earth, and the sun creates a rhythm that is as predictable as the stars in the sky. The invisible force of the moon's pull has shaped more than just the ocean. It has also shaped life on Earth. Many species, from marine animals to plants, have adapted to the cycle of the tides, using the rise and fall of the water as cues for feeding, breeding, and migrating. The tides bring nutrients from the deep, offering food to the creatures that live in the intertidal zone. As the water rises, it fills the tidal pools with life, and as it recedes, it leaves behind a bounty of food. Without the moon's pull, this intricate ecosystem would not exist. The delicate balance of life on the shores, from the smallest crab to the largest whale, is dependent on the moon's invisible hand. But the moon's influence on the ocean is not just about the immediate rise and fall of the water. It is a force that shapes the very structure of the Earth itself. The moon's gravitational pull has caused the Earth's crust to bulge, creating what we know as tidal forces. These forces cause the Earth to stretch and bend, influencing everything from the rotation of the planet to the shaping of the continents. The moon's invisible power is responsible for stabilizing the Earth's axis, helping to regulate the planet's climate and seasons. Without the moon, the Earth would not be the place we know it to be. Its presence is essential to the balance of life on Earth. The silent power of the moon is a reminder that not all forces are visible, and not all movements are loud. The moon moves the oceans with the softest of touches, yet the results are immense. It is a lesson in the quiet strength that exists in the world, the power that comes from gentle persistence, from moving with the natural rhythm of life. The moon's touch is not forceful or abrupt. It is subtle, like a whisper in the night, but it has shaped the oceans and the earth in ways that are beyond comprehension. It is a power that has endured, steady and constant for billions of years, and it will continue to guide the oceans long after we are gone. As we stand on the shore, watching the waves roll in, we are reminded that there is more to the world than what we can see. The moon, with its silent power, shapes the oceans and the land, shaping the world beneath our feet. The tides are a visible reminder of this power. but the moon's influence stretches far beyond the horizon into the very fabric of the Earth itself. It is a quiet force, but one that is undeniably powerful and one that has shaped the world as we know it. As the quiet power of the moon pulls the oceans, we realize that the tides are not simply a phenomenon, but a powerful reminder of how connected everything on Earth truly is. It is as though the moon, with its silent force, is communicating with the Earth through the movement of water. This invisible interaction, which seems so ordinary when we observe it from the shore, is actually a profound reflection of the interconnectedness of nature. The ocean responds to the moon's pull, and in doing so it mirrors the larger dance of the cosmos, a dance that links not just the moon and Earth, but all the celestial bodies in a perfect, intricate system. The rhythmic nature of the tides constantly rising and falling is a reminder that life itself is never stagnant. Just as the moon's pull shapes the water, so too does time shape the events of our lives. The constant cycle of the tides is a reflection of how we are continually affected by the forces that guide our existence, whether we see them or not. Much like the ocean, we are often carried forward by forces outside of our control. Whether it is the pull of time, the guidance of others, or even our own inner rhythms. And yet, like the water, we always return, finding new shores with every cycle. The tide's movement is not only a natural process, but a vital force that sustains the very environment in which we live. The rise and fall of the water create ecosystems that depend on this regular cycle. The intertidal zone, where the ocean meets the land, is one of the most dynamic ecosystems on Earth. Here, creatures such as crabs, mussels, and starfish thrive, perfectly adapted to the constant change that the tides bring. The ocean's gentle tug allows them to survive, as the rising water offers nourishment and the retreating tide leaves behind food for scavengers. Without the constant pulse of the tides, the delicate balance of this ecosystem would collapse. The moon's influence over the oceans is a reflection of how nature relies on balance. The gravitational pull it exerts on the water is not one that forces immediate change, but instead allows for a subtle, gradual transformation. This patience in nature is something we can learn from. The moon does not rush the tides. It moves with quiet purpose, guiding the ocean through a cycle that has been occurring for billions of years. There is wisdom in this approach, a lesson that sometimes the most profound change happens slowly, in small, steady steps. Just as the tides move with the rhythm of the moon, so too must we learn to trust the process of our own growth, moving forward even when we cannot see immediate results. Each cycle of the tide is also a reminder of impermanence. The moon's pull creates high and low tides, but no tide is ever the same. The landscape of the shore changes constantly as the water moves, and each tide leaves behind traces of its passage. This continuous ebb and flow is a natural reminder that nothing in life is permanent. Just as the ocean constantly reshapes the shore, so too are we constantly reshaped by the events that unfold in our lives. There are times when we are drawn upward, times when we rise with strength and purpose, and times when we must retreat, gather our strength, and rest. But in every cycle there is growth. The ocean teaches us that each retreat brings renewal, just as each rise brings new opportunities for growth and discovery. The tides, guided by the moon, also provide a sense of peace in their regularity. They offer a calming, predictable rhythm that we can rely on. When everything else in life seems uncertain, the rise and fall of the ocean remain constant. The moon's pull creates a quiet, reassuring certainty that the tides will always return. It is a gentle reminder that no matter what happens, there are forces in the universe that remain steady. Just as we know that the tides will rise again, so too can we trust that life's cycles will bring us new beginnings, even after times of difficulty. The cycles of the ocean remind us that after every storm, calm will follow, just as after every low tide the water will rise once more. In many ways, the moon's role in the tides is a perfect metaphor for the unseen forces that shape our lives. The moon's gravitational pull is not something we can see, but its effects are tangible, felt in every rise and fall of the ocean. In the same way, there are many forces in our lives that shape us, that guide us, even though we may not fully understand them. These forces could be the love and support of those around us, the passage of time, or even our own inner wisdom. Like the moon's pull on the ocean, these forces are present, even if we cannot see them. And like the ocean, we must learn to trust in their guidance, knowing that they are leading us towards something greater. As we watch the water move in time with the moon, we are reminded of the power of subtlety. The moon does not force the ocean to move, it simply calls to it, and the water responds. There is an inherent grace in this. In life, we too are called by forces beyond our control, but it is up to us how we respond. Just as the ocean rises and falls in time with the moon, so too must we rise to meet the challenges of life and retreat when we need rest. We must learn to move with life's rhythm, trusting that everything we experience, both the highs and the lows, is part of the natural cycle. The tides also show us that there is beauty in repetition. The constant rise and fall of the ocean may seem like a simple process, but it is one that carries infinite beauty. Each wave that crashes against the shore is unique, each tide a new moment, but they all share the same pattern. There is a quiet beauty in this repetition, a reminder that sometimes the most profound experiences are found in the most consistent and subtle moments. The tides, like life itself, are full of repetition, but within this repetition is a depth of experience. Just as each wave is shaped by the same forces, so too are we shaped by the cycles of life that continue to unfold, one moment after another. The moon's silent pull on the ocean is a reminder that sometimes the most powerful forces in the universe are invisible. We may not always see the forces that shape our lives, but we can feel them in every moment, in every movement of the tides. And just as the ocean moves in time with the moon, we too must learn to move in time with the forces that guide us. The moon's pull is a gentle, quiet force, but it is one that shapes the world in profound ways. It teaches us that we, too, can make a difference in the world, even when we feel unseen. Like the moon, we may not always see the impact of our actions, but their effects ripple out, shaping the world in ways that are both subtle and powerful. In the vast expanse of the ocean, a quiet rhythm plays out every day, a pulse that is felt in every wave that crashes against the shore. This pulse is not just the movement of water, but a deep ancient rhythm that is shaped by a silent force, a force that pulls at the very fabric of the earth. This force is the moon, a distant celestial body that, despite its far-off position, has an undeniable power over our world. Its gravitational pull tugs at the oceans, creating high and low tides in a predictable and steady cycle, a rhythm that has existed for billions of years. The ocean's pulse, which feels so natural, is shaped by this invisible force, and its movement speaks to a deeper connection between the Earth and the Moon, a connection that governs much of life on this planet. The tides are a constant, never-changing reminder of the Moon's influence. Every day, as the Moon moves across the sky, its gravity reaches out, pulling at the water, drawing it upwards in a slow, graceful arc. This force causes the water to rise, creating high tides, and as the moon moves away, the water recedes, creating low tides. This cycle plays out across the globe, from the quiet shores of remote islands to the bustling coasts of cities, marking the passage of time in a way that is invisible, yet undeniably felt. The tide's steady rhythm is a reflection of the moon's pull, a reminder that even the most powerful forces in nature move with grace and subtlety. Imagine standing on the shore watching the water ebb and flow, the waves gently lapping at your feet. Above, the moon hangs in the sky, its pale light casting a soft glow over the ocean. In that moment, the ocean seems to pulse with life, moving in time with the rhythm of the moon. There is something calming about this steady movement, something deeply comforting in the knowledge that the tides will always return. The rise and fall of the water feel like a heartbeat, a steady pulse that connects us to the earth and to the universe itself. And in that pulse we are reminded that we too are part of a larger rhythm, one that is shaped by forces far beyond our understanding. The ocean's pulse is not a random event. It is driven by the gravitational forces between the moon and the earth, a relationship that has existed since the beginning of time. As the moon orbits the earth, it pulls at the oceans, creating bulges in the water that result in high tides. On the opposite side of the earth, another bulge forms, caused by the earth's own movement. These bulges create 2 high tides each day, one as the moon passes overhead and another as the earth moves beneath it. When the moon is in a different position, the bulges shift and the water recedes, creating low tides. This constant rhythm of rise and fall is a delicate balance, one that has shaped the Earth's shores and ecosystems over millennia. But the tides are not just a phenomenon that affects the oceans, they also play a vital role in regulating the Earth's atmosphere, climate, and even its rotation. The gravitational pull of the moon affects the Earth's rotation, causing it to slow down very gradually over time. This interaction between the Earth and the moon has helped stabilize the planet's climate, regulating the length of days and the movement of the seasons. The moon's influence is far-reaching, shaping not just the oceans but the very structure of the Earth itself. The tides in their quiet rhythm are a reflection of the delicate balance that governs the entire planet. As the ocean moves in time with the moon's pull, it also moves in harmony with the rest of nature. The rise and fall of the tides create an ever-changing environment, one that is home to a vast array of creatures, from the smallest plankton to the largest whales. The tides bring food and nutrients to the creatures that live in the intertidal zones, providing them with the resources they need to survive. As the tide recedes, new creatures come to the shore, while others retreat to deeper waters. The ebb and flow of the water create a dynamic ecosystem, one that depends on the regularity of the tides. Without the moon's pull, this ecosystem would not exist, and life on Earth would be vastly different. The tides are a reflection of the larger forces at work in the universe. The moon's gravitational pull on the ocean is a constant reminder that we are all connected, that everything in the universe moves in a delicate synchronized dance. Just as the moon moves in its orbit, pulling at the oceans, so too do the forces of nature move through all living things. The moon's pull is not just about the movement of water, it is a force that shapes the very fabric of life itself, influencing the tides of the ocean, the winds in the sky, and the rhythm of the Earth's heartbeat. In this dance between the moon and the ocean, there is a deep sense of harmony, a reminder that all things are connected, and that the movements of the cosmos have direct consequences on the world we experience. The ocean's pulse is not just a physical event, it is a reflection of the larger, unseen forces that shape our world. And just as the tides follow the moon's rhythm, so too do we move in time with the rhythms of life, following a path that is shaped by forces both visible and invisible. As the tides continue to rise and fall, they serve as a constant reminder of the natural forces that govern our world. The ocean, with its steady pulse, moves in time with the moon, creating a rhythm that spans the globe. The moon's pull is not only powerful, but it is also a silent and invisible force, one that has shaped the world's oceans for billions of years. And yet, despite its invisibility, the moon's influence is felt everywhere. The tides are not just about the movement of water, they are a reflection of the larger forces at work in the universe, forces that create balance, stability and rhythm in everything from the oceans to the very air we breathe. One of the most fascinating aspects of the tides is their predictability. While the water's movement may seem random at times, it follows a precise and consistent pattern, dictated by the gravitational forces between the Earth and the Moon. Every day, at regular intervals, the ocean responds to the moon's pull, creating high and low tides that are as reliable as the ticking of a clock. This regularity is both reassuring and awe-inspiring. It reminds us that there are patterns in nature that are beyond our control, but that also provide a sense of order and harmony to the world. The tides may rise and fall, but they always do so in perfect sync with the moon's rhythm. The tidal forces, though subtle, have a profound impact on the ecosystems that rely on them. The intertidal zone, where the ocean meets the land, is one of the most dynamic environments on Earth. It is a place where creatures like crabs, mussels, and sea stars thrive, adapting to the constant rise and fall of the tides. These creatures have evolved to survive in the ever-changing environment, taking advantage of the food brought in by the tides and using the cover of the water to protect themselves from predators. The ebb and flow of the ocean provide a constant source of nourishment for these creatures, and the regularity of the tides ensures that life in the intertidal zone remains in balance. The moon's influence on the ocean also goes beyond the immediate effects of the tides. The tidal forces are intricately tied to the Earth's movement, affecting not just the oceans but the planet as a whole. As the moon pulls at the water, it also exerts a subtle force on the Earth's crust. This interaction, known as tidal friction, causes the Earth's rotation to slow down over time. This process, though gradual, has had a profound effect on the length of days and the stability of the Earth's climate. Without the moon's influence, the Earth's days would be much shorter, and its climate would be far more unstable. The moon's pull, while invisible, plays a crucial role in regulating the planet's physical structure and its environment. Beyond its physical effects, the moon's relationship with the tides is a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things in the natural world. The moon does not act alone. It is part of a larger system that includes the Earth, the Sun, and the stars. The gravitational forces between these celestial bodies create a delicate balance that governs the movement of the oceans, the shifting of the land, and even the flow of the atmosphere. These forces work together in perfect harmony, shaping the Earth in ways that we can see, feel, and even hear in the rhythm of the tides. The moon's pull is a reflection of the larger cosmic dance that has been playing out for billions of years, a dance that we are all a part of, even if we cannot always see the steps. The ocean's pulse, created by the moon's pull, is also a reflection of the passage of time. The tides move in a predictable rhythm, rising and falling with the cycles of the moon, but they also mark the passage of days, months, and seasons. Just as the tides flow in their own time, so too do the moments of our lives unfold, with periods of growth, rest, and renewal. The moon's pull on the oceans is a reminder that time moves in cycles. There are times when we are rising, full of energy and purpose, and times when we must retreat, resting and gathering strength for the next cycle. The tides are not just about the movement of water, they are a reflection of the larger rhythms of life, reminding us that just as the tides return, so too will the moments of renewal in our own lives. This connection between the moon and the ocean is a deeply spiritual one that speaks to the idea that all things are in constant motion, constantly changing, yet always following the same rhythm. The ocean, in its ebb and flow, is like a living being, moving in time with the heartbeat of the Earth and the moon. The moon, though distant, is a guiding force, silently pulling at the ocean, creating a rhythm that has shaped life on Earth for millennia. It is a reminder that we too are connected to these forces, moving in time with the natural world, following a rhythm that is beyond our control, yet one that we can feel deep within us. As the tides rise and fall, we are reminded of the beauty of this natural cycle, of the grace and power of the moon's pull. The ocean moves with a quiet, steady force, its pulse governed by the invisible influence of the moon. This dance between the Earth, the moon, and the ocean is a reminder that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. We may not always see the forces that shape our lives, but they are always present, guiding us through each moment, each cycle, each ebb and flow. The tides may rise, the water may retreat, but the rhythm of life continues, always moving forward, always in time with the pulse of the Earth and the moon. There is a quiet mystery in the ocean's depths, a secret carried by the waves, hidden in the depths of the water. It's a memory, ancient and deep, one that stretches back to the beginning of time. The ocean has witnessed everything: the rise of continents, the fall of civilizations, the gentle passing of moments, and the thunderous rush of storms. And though the ocean may appear calm on the surface, beneath it a world of memory is stored. Memories of the Earth's past, encoded in the waters, held within the pulse of every tide. Water, it seems, has a memory of its own. It remembers. When we look at the ocean, we see only the surface, the endless expanse of blue stretching out toward the horizon. But if we listen closely, we can hear the whispers of time. The rhythm of the tides, the endless ebb and flow, is more than just the movement of water. It is a record of everything that has come before. The ocean's pulse, steady and constant, is the heartbeat of the planet, carrying with it the stories of every wave, every storm, every change. Just as our bodies are made of water, so too is the earth, a living, breathing entity that remembers, carries its history in every drop. The ocean holds the memories of ancient times, long before human hands could write, long before any record was made. The water has seen the rise of mountains, the shifting of continents, and the birth of life. And in a way, the ocean keeps these memories alive, passing them on to each new wave, to each new tide. It's as if the water itself is a living archive, one that remembers the world's history and carries it forward, echoing the rhythms of the past in every ripple. Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean, feeling the coolness of the water as it touches your feet. With each wave that breaks, there is a sense of timelessness, as though the ocean is speaking to you through the ages. It's as if the very water is infused with the essence of the world's past. Each drop, each molecule of water, carries within it the imprint of everything it has touched. From the time when the earth was young, when the oceans were first formed, to the countless generations that have followed, the water has borne witness to it all. The ocean's memory is deep, hidden beneath the surface, like the roots of an ancient tree, growing deeper and stronger with each passing year. But the memory of water is not just about the past, it is also about the present and the future. The ocean's memory is alive, constantly being shaped by the movements of the world. Each moment, each passing tide adds to the story. The water is not static, it moves, it flows, it changes, and with it the memory grows and evolves. The ocean, like time itself, is in a constant state of flux, yet it holds on to the memories of everything that has come before. It is a living record, one that is always being written, always being added to with each drop of water, each wave that crashes against the shore. The idea that water has memory is not just poetic, it is supported by science. Researchers have found that water can remember the shape and structure of molecules it has interacted with, even when those molecules are no longer present. In a sense, the water retains the energy of the molecules it comes in contact with. This idea of water holding onto the past, retaining a record of its interactions, parallels the way the ocean remembers the forces that shape the earth. Every wave, every tide is a reminder that the past is never truly gone. It lives on in the very fabric of the world around us. The ocean's memory is also a reflection of the cycles of life. The water rises, it falls, it moves through a constant cycle, one that has been unfolding for billions of years. It is a reminder that everything, from the smallest drop to the largest wave, is part of a much larger system, one that is always moving, always changing. The ocean's memory is not confined to the past. It is an ongoing process, constantly updated with each new wave, each new moment. The cycles of the ocean mirror the cycles of life itself, ever changing, ever flowing, but always connected to the past, always carrying the memory of what has come before. In the ocean's depths, there are still mysteries to be uncovered. The memory of water holds secrets, hidden in the deep, that we have yet to fully understand. There are parts of the ocean that remain unexplored, regions so far beneath the surface that the pressure and darkness are beyond our reach. But even in these depths, the ocean remembers. It holds the secrets of life's origins, the stories of the first creatures to inhabit the earth, the forces that shape the land, the water and the air. The ocean's memory is a vast, untapped archive, one that holds the key to understanding the history of our world and the interconnectedness of all life. As we gaze at the ocean, we are reminded that we too are part of this larger memory. The water that touches the shore is the same water that has travelled across the earth, carried by the winds, shaped by the tides, and influenced by the moon. We are all connected by the water, by the same forces that shape the ocean and the land. The memory of water is not just a physical record. It is a spiritual one, a reminder that we are all part of something larger than ourselves, that we are part of the Earth's history, and that our actions, like the tides, will ripple out and affect the world for generations to come. As we stand by the shore, gazing out at the vast expanse of the ocean, we are reminded of the deep, ancient connection between water and memory. The ocean's quiet pulse, ebbing and flowing, mirrors the rhythm of time itself, a never-ending cycle that speaks to the cycles of life, death, and renewal. With each passing wave, the water whispers the stories of the earth, carrying the memory of everything it has witnessed. It's as if the ocean is a living being, its waters infused with the history of the planet, holding on to the past and at the same time moving forward toward the future. But water's memory is not just about the passage of time, it is also about the way the ocean shapes and is shaped by the world around it.